utu is widely misunderstood and commonly conflated with revenge. More nuanced descriptions of utu can be found in Waitangi Tribunal reports. Utu relates to reciprocity. It concerns the maintenance of harmony and balance and of mana. Utu can be the penalties exacted on individuals or collectives for offences that threaten the tapu and mana of an individual, whānau, hapu, and so on. Utu can be a reciprocal and competing relationship based not just on warfare or slights, but also on competitive hospitality and mutual economic relationships. Where the narrowest definition of utu is reciprocal actions, more broadly speaking, utu relates to the responses that restore balance and dynamic harmony. If utu is an action, then the underlying metaphysical principle or spirit of that action is hau. Hau has largely been forgotten and is more misunderstood than utu. It once was internationally famous thanks to the French sociologist Marcel Mauss and his essay The Gift concerning gift economies. Mauss was inspired by the words of Tamati Ranapiri, recorded by ethnographer Elsden Best. However, more accurate explanations of hau can be found in the work of the Reverend Māori Marsden and Manuka Henare. The notion of hau brings together ecology, economy, sociology and health. At its essence, it means reciprocity. At a metaphysical level, hau is the dynamic and synergistic nature of the relationships of the ontology of whanaungatanga. Hau is the symbiotic relationships from which ecosystems emerge, like the union of fungi and algae, that is lichen, which generates the soil substrate needed for more complex life in a biosphere. This means that te taiao, nature, cannot be relegated to a mere resource to be exploited by humans. Such thinking would inevitably result in a disturbance in the hau of the ecosystem affected. Hau is what completes all things in the realms of the land, the sky, the sun, the moon, and the stars. Hau is why, when a gift is given, it must be reciprocated in some way. Hauora refers to the dynamic reciprocal relationships necessary for life and well-being, for health. The traditional Māori economy and society was about as far away from capitalism as you can imagine. In a hau economy, the currency circulated or the medium of exchange is mana. Mana is about authority, being effectual, it's about agency, and most importantly, empowerment. Why circulate mana? Because there is no better way to advance the interests of people than to enable their empowerment, which strengthens and relies on whanaungatanga. To ensure a better future, the goal is to have a surplus of empowerment, mana, and to pay mana forward. This requires work to maintain relationships that are enduring, mutually beneficial, and dynamic enough to respond to change, which is inevitable. This is why manaakitanga, hospitality, whanaungatanga, and the giving of taonga, treasures, and koha, gifts, are so integral to Māori society. Hau is not a demon or spirit that bites back when a gift is not reciprocated, and it is not mere social pressure to conform to social obligations. To be an effective kaitiaki, guardian of the whenua or some other system like the health system, one must understand the hau of the system they care for. They must be able to identify disturbances in the hau and take action to restore it to dynamic harmony. That could be through utu or hohaurongo, for instance, the latter being peacemaking or restorative actions. Kaitiaki must act in accordance with tikanga, protocols based on mātauranga Māori, to protect the hau and the mauri tapu and mana of those entities of the system they care for. That could be the whenua, land, the ngahere, forest, a hapu, or an individual. The role of a rangatira includes being an effective kaitiaki, but they cannot do that alone. They rely on the people to keep them fully informed, to uphold tikanga, and to support the actions recommended by the rangatira, like utu. Rangatira are empowered by their people, they are answerable to them, and they are dependent on them.